I'll call to order the Newman City Council Redevelopment Agency regular meeting of September 13th, 2011. Please stand for the pledge. Ready to begin?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing, bow your heads. Lord, we ask you to assist giving us guidance tonight to help make the right decisions for this community and the great city of Newman. I'd also ask that you please touch Mayor Jim Ridenauer of Modesto, who's battling illness in Modesto. And we ask that you help him along and get better, and that he heal and get back to work as soon as possible. In this year, our name, we ask, amen.
Amen.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Davis.
Present.
Hutchins.
Present.
Candia.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Martina.
Present.
Mayor King.
Present. Declarations of conflicts of interest. Seeing none, go to item 6, ceremonial matters. We don't believe we have any that this evening. Item 7, items from the public, non-agenda items. Any member of the public wish to address the council, please step to the podium, state your name. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Wayne Philbrook. I'm the branch manager of the Newman Public Library. I wanted to take a moment and let you know about some programs that are available at the library this month. We have continuing preschool story time every Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. We read stories, sing songs, dance, and have a wonderful time. And a reminder that the current session of story time will end on September 28th. We will take the month of October off, and we will resume on Wednesday, November 2nd. We have a team game night coming up on Tuesday, September the 20th from 5:30 to 7 in the library community room. We'll have a Nintendo Wii as well as various board games and card games for all to play with. These free programs are brought to you by the 1/8 cent dedicated sales tax that supports the library in Stanislaus County. Please stop in and visit, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Any other member of the public wish to address the council? Seeing none, we'll go to item 8, consent calendar. A is waive all readings of ordinances and resolutions except by title. B is approval of the warrants. C is approval of the minutes of the August 23rd, 2011 regular meeting. D is reappointment of Kern Honeywell to a 4-year term on the Tulare Mosquito Abatement District. E, authorize staff to participate in the Love Newman Community Service Day / campaign. F, adopt resolution number 2011, next in number, a resolution approving the submittal of an application to the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District and authorizing the city manager or the director of public works to execute all grants, documents, applications, agreements, amendments, and requests for payment necessary to secure grant funds and implement the approved new vehicle grant project.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull warrant number 100322.
I second that motion.
That's
There's a
Where I sit
motion
on.
to approve the warrants and pull warrant number 100322. Is there a second?
I second that motion.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Dealing with item number 100322, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I second that motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Did we just do the warrants, or do we need to make another motion for the rest of the
Well,
consent calendar?
we had a motion to approve the warrants, and with the exception of item number 100322, then there was a second motion to approve warrant number 100322 on a motion by Councilmember Candia and second by Councilmember Martina.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the remainder of the consent agenda.
Okay, there's a motion to approve the remainder of the consent agenda. Is there
I
a
second
second?
that motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much. Okay, item 9 is public hearings. A, adopt resolution number 2011, next in number, a resolution declaring the existence of a public nuisance ordinance number 95-4. Chief.
Evening, Mayor, council members. Before you tonight is another WE abatement, property abatement. The notices were sent out in accordance to ordinance number 95-4, chapter 2, title 8-2-3. These notices inform property owners of their right and abatement procedures and their right to a public hearing, which would be tonight. Tonight, the address in question is 228 North Ampton Way, and it has debris and weeds throughout the front yard and backyard. We have 3 pictures for you. And I'll turn it over to you for consideration and possible further action.
Any questions of the chief? Are those pictures as of today?
Those pictures were not as of today, but the yard still looks like that as
Does
of
it?
today.
Okay.
They were taken last week.
I was thinking I drove by and I thought.
They were taken on the 6th.
Oh, okay.
Because she drove by today and said it was still the
Okay.
same. She checks them every Monday
Yeah.
and Tuesday before we come to council.
Okay, I thought I saw that one. That was kind of on my radar, and I thought I saw it whacked down. Guess not. Anyway, if there's no questions of the chief,
I have one. It's just unfortunate that neighbors have to put up with that sort of thing.
It's true, and the abatement, this procedure takes some time. It takes, we have to send out 3 notices, so it takes some time for it to actually get to where it's cleaned up, so it is unfortunate for neighbors.
Is this bank owned now, chief? Or is it?
I believe it is. It was a foreclosed home. I don't know if it's still bank owned or if it's up. I believe it's for sale and maybe pending at this time.
Do we get into a problem where there could be a fire hazard?
We do, yeah. That's where the weeds, the dead weeds, that's one of the reasons under the
Okay.
title that lists.
Okay.
Is there an urgency action that we can take if it's a public safety hazard?
Yes.
In other words, we don't have to wait the
If
whole.
it's imminent, if it's
Right.
absolutely imminent, we could.
So, I mean, I look at something like this and say, if that caught fire, that fence is gonna go and the houses around it.
that speeds up that process, Tom. Is there something that we?
Yeah, you'd have to have a little higher standard than that on these, I think, these days with the judges.
Okay.
We gotta, because there's so many of them, it's even more strict, I guess, would be a way to say it. But I agree with you, that's an imminent hazard, but to bypass this process, we'd have to have more.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but we have to take that before an actual judge and
Yes.
magistrate to have a
Yes.
warrant signed to
Otherwise, yeah.
complete this action.
Otherwise, it's potential Fourth Amendment violation.
Do we go after the bank on these, if they are bank owned? How do we shoot for that, Michael?
See that part again, Tom?
If these bank owned and we do have to go out and clean it up, because they're definitely not.
Yeah, we put a lien on the property, and then the lien gets taken care of through the pending transaction. So it'll have to be settled through escrow. So before
they can take possession of the property.
When they sell the property, we get our money because then the title company says, "Oh, there's a lien on the property. You got to pay that before you can get a clean title."
Okay.
And we have a very high recovery rate at this point with those.
Great. Well, it's good. I mean, that we're staying on top of it. That's the main thing. You start seeing these properties deteriorate as the yards start drying up, then the weeds start popping up, and within a month or two, then they look like that. So, and it's sad for the neighborhoods. Because the people right next door to that house might have a great looking yard, and so. Okay, with that, we'll open the public hearing. We wish to comment. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Bring it back to council for direction.
I make a motion that we adopt resolution number 2011, next number, a resolution declaring the existence of a public nuisance under ordinance 95-4.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Item B is hold public hearing and consider approval of the Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, known as CAPER, relating to its fiscal year 2010-2011 past activity. Stephanie?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Before you is the 2010-11 CAPER, which identifies the activities that we had partaken in with CDBG funding the last year. The CAPER was presented to the council on August 23rd, and the public review comment period was opened. No comments have been received. Staff recommends that the council conduct the hearing and adopt the CAPER relating to last year's past activity. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of Stephanie? Seeing none, I'll open the public hearing. Anybody wish to comment? Close the public hearing. Bring council for direction.
I so move that we hold a public hearing and consider approval of the Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report CAPER relating to its financial year 2010, 2011 past activity.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Stephanie. Go to regular business. A is award bid for the purchase of two 2012 Ford pickups to Patchett's Ford. Garner.
Good evening, Mayor. Thank you. As you stated before you tonight, is consider awarding the bid for the purchase of two 2012 Ford pickups to Patchett's Ford. The Public Works Department budgeted $50,000 this year in the 2011-2012 budget to replace two of the half-ton pickup trucks that we have in our water division. Our existing pickups are 1997 and 1996 standard cab trucks. One of them has 100,000 miles on it, the other one has 127,000 miles. They are hard in-town miles, a lot of stop and go, getting out reading meters and things of that nature. Since July 1st, we spent about $1,600 of our $2,000 in repairs that we budgeted just for those two pickups alone. They're past their life expectancy and are no longer considered reliable. Therefore, we envision replacing these pickups with two 2012 Ford pickups. One's a half-ton, one being a three-quarter-ton pickup with a liftgate on it. Standard cab trucks, basic models. There's no frills involved with these pickups. The pickups that are being replaced will continue to be utilized in our division, but only on an as-needed basis if we have part-time workers that need a very limited amount of use. City advertised for bids for approximately 3 weeks. Their bids were open and read on August 11th, 2012 at 2 p.m. A total of 4 bids were submitted. The lowest responsible bidder is Patchett's Ford with a total bid amount of $37,029.66. There were 2 lower bids. However, there were discrepancies in the bids and that they could not honor their bids all the way through to council award. They only gave us till August 19th to honor those bids. They had a drop dead date and we couldn't honor that. So they were considered not a reasonable, they were not considered a responsible bidder. The purchase of I said earlier, the purchase of the pickups were included in the budget. In addition to the purchase of the pickups, it's estimated to be additional cost for light bars and toolboxes for the trucks at approximately $1,500. This is a water fund expenditure, not a general fund expense. Therefore, staff recommends council award the purchase of the two 2012 pickups to Patchett's Ford in the amount of $37,029.66. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you.
Any questions of Garner?
I make a motion that we award the purchase of the two 2012 Ford pickups to Patchett's Ford in the amount of $37,029.66.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. B is approve a contract amendment and budget adjustment in the amount of $14,350 for the water rate and connection fee study with the Stantec Consulting Services Incorporated and authorize city manager to execute the agreement.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Here I begin. As you stated, this is considered approving a contract amendment for the water rate study with Stantec Engineering. The purpose of the rate study is to examine our rates and our connection fees to ensure we're preparing for the future. We're establishing enough money for our capital expenditures and our operations and maintenance and be able to maintain the system in a safe, reliable manner in compliance with all our regulations. In May of 2011, let me back up a little bit on that. On February 23rd, 2010, City Council authorized a contract with Eecbg Engineering to conduct the rate study for an amount of $27,970. However, new information became available and we moved in a new direction. Originally, when the connection fee study was undertaken, the city envisioned a surface water treatment plant that would be operational within 10 to 15 years. However, with our test hole, we found with better water quality and we're moving in a different direction and postponing those improvements for approximately 20 years. What that does is that lowers the overall water fee that's proposed in the rate study. So we're moving in a new direction. That's kind of a scope change for the consultant and an increased cost because they have to go back and they have to amend the tables and they have to look at the impact to the rates and do a kind of a different economic impact. Good news part of that, it lowers the rates. Bad news part of that, it's extra work and it costs us a little more money. Therefore, the consultant's requesting a contract amendment in the amount of $14,350 to complete this work. They've used up the funding to date due to the direction that we changed when we shifted and put this test hole in and found better water quality. And the additional funding were required so that we can finish up the rate study, get the ad hoc committee together, finish it up, wrap it up, and then start our 218 process if needed. Therefore, staff recommends City Council approve a contract amendment and a budget adjustment in the amount of $14,350 for the water rate and connection fee study with Stantec Consulting Services and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Questions, Garner?
I just have a couple of comments. Being on the ad hoc committee and having talked to some other members that were on the ad hoc committee, when they made their original presentation, I guess it was back in what, May now?
Right. Approximately May.
They did not seem really prepared for a lot of the questions that were asked about the rate study. And I know there were several other members that talked to me outside and said I couldn't figure out what they were talking about. So I would just make a comment that if we do, that I would expect them to be a lot better prepared this time than they were last time.
I'll be happy to press those comments on to them. Thank you.
Any other comments? Thank you, Don. Okay, direction from council.
I'll make a motion, we approve a contract amendment and budget adjustment in the amount of $14,350 for the water rate and connection fee study with Stantec Consulting Services, and authorize city manager to execute the agreement.
I second that motion.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
There's a vote of 4-1. Councilmember Davis dissenting. Thank you. Item C, adopt resolution number 2011, next to number, awarding the Main Street intersection rehabilitation project to George Reed Incorporated for a not-to-exceed amount of $150,035.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. The downtown streetscape project was completed in 2001, and included in that was a reconstruction of the crosswalks along Main Street at Merced, Fresno, and Tulare. At those intersections, the crosswalks have been failing, and I brought this to council for direction earlier in the year. June 28, 2011, that's when council approved of the project consisting of the removal and replacing of those with the cobble look. The city advertised for bids for approximately 3 weeks and received bids for this project, and it opened around on September 6th. A total of 4 bids were received for the project. The engineer's estimate for the project is $158,200. We have received $100,000 in grant funding, and in the staff report, it shows that the local match is $12,956 for a total of $112,956. The difference, approximately $38,000, comes from the local transportation fund and not from the general fund. The Public Works Department has reviewed the bids and found them to be in proper order. The lowest responsible bidder for the project being determined to be George Reed Incorporated with a bid amount of $150,350, and included with your staff report is an abstract of the bids. Therefore, city staff recommends City Council adopt a resolution awarding the bid for the Main Street intersection project rehabilitation project to George Reed Incorporated for a not to exceed amount of $150,035. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you. One side note, I'm sorry, the project will be constructed at night. We're not going to be tearing these up during the day. As part of the specifications, we required that they submit a traffic control plan, and the work will only occur at night from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning. Help minimize the conflict with any of our downtown businesses. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Be a good project.
I was just looking at, and it always amazes me on bids for these companies, how there would be such a huge discrepancy, you know, in
bid items?
Yeah, for doing the exact same work. And for instance, you know, I mean, our low bidder came in at $8,500 for traffic control, where another company comes in at almost $23,000 for traffic control.
Right.
It's just,
Well, when you look at that, the first thing we think about is, are they going to be skimping on their traffic control? And this project's really important when it comes to that. I've had a discussion with their project manager to ensure that we're going to be very strict on their traffic control, that they still allow access to the businesses even during the day, even though they poured concrete. That's the first thing that flag pops into my head as the project manager on this one is going to be, maybe they're thinking about cutting corners, so we'll be watching that.
Yeah. I mean, everything else seems to be fairly, you know, in line,
close.
but that was the big thing that really stuck out. Besides, you know, the demolition, when you know one other company was low bidders at $17,000, and another came in at almost $42,000.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It was reasonably close to our engineer's estimate. Our
Yeah.
engineer's estimate was $158,000. So we had 2 bids that were right there next to us.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Any other questions or comments?
Garner,
Yes, sir.
George Reed Incorporated, we've dealt with them before.
I haven't personally here in Newman, but I have at my previous job. And they're a reputable
Quality
contractor.
of work is,
They're good. And the subcontractor they have actually was listed on 3 of the 4 other bidders, Calstone, who does this work for a living.
Okay.
As people that actually install the blocks. George Reed Incorporated will be doing everything but installing the pavers. They'll be doing the demolition, installing the concrete sub-base and traffic control. And then Calstone, that's what they do, will be installing the pavers. But they're a good contracting company.
Yeah. And that it's, well, never mind. Any other comments?
I'd make a motion, we adopt resolution number 2011, next number, awarding the Main Street intersections rehabilitation project to George Reed Incorporated.
Is there a second?
second the motion.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. D is adopt resolution number 2011, next number, a resolution authorizing a part-time account clerk, 1, in the finance department and a budget adjustment.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. For the last 2 or 3 years, we've been able to rely on the Alliance WorkNet to provide us 2 to 3 workers to help us maintain the volume of work that we have to do in the finance department. Recently, we've been down to 1 individual, and we're under the impression that in the next week or 2 here, we might be losing that person. We've been requesting from the Alliance additional workers, but there are none available under the program and haven't been additionals in a while. In order to maintain the quality of work that we do and keep us current on all of our activities, we're requesting that we create the position of an account clerk 1, part-time, and be able to bring in somebody under that. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Any questions of Luke?
Just have one question, Lou.
Sure.
With so many people out of work right now, do we know why the Alliance isn't able to provide us with any people at this point?
Yeah, we've, matter of fact, we had one person that had approached us about being able to do an internship with us. We had informed her, you tried going through the Alliance, that way you'd be able to get some pay for it. The program that we have set up with the Alliance is that individual would have to be on unemployment or on welfare, and this individual isn't. So, she's a willing worker, somebody willing to do it, but the way their program is set up, it doesn't provide us the channel to be able to bring that person in.
Does that mean nobody on unemployment or welfare applied for the job?
I don't know, it could be maybe they're not aware of the program with the Alliance, or have been looking at other routes and haven't seen that one, but we've been in constant contact with them to try and bring in additional people. Over recently, we've only had 1 individual here, and we usually have 2 to 3 in our department.
Is this the same position? We were told a few weeks ago that over 100 people applied for one job.
Full-time position, yeah. But not through the Alliance. That would be something that's funded by the Alliance WorkNet. And we were able to hire somebody through that procedure we went through. But as it is right now, we've been trying to contact them in order that they would fund this activity, but they don't have anybody they can send us.
Some of it may be, excuse me, Councilor, some of it may be logistics. Some of the, the Alliance is based out of Modesto. Maybe their clientele at this point in time is more Modesto-centric. Maybe their series in Tulare and they can't make it out here. Generally, we've had success with people that live on the west side and work here. Yeah, that's been where we've succeeded. The last girl was from the recent one that just left. She was from Patterson. She worked in Patterson. Then she came over and worked for us for a while. And then Patterson offered her this similar type of position in their community, so she went back to work for them. So,
Any other questions or comments? Council direction?
I so move that we adopt resolution number 2011, next number, a resolution authorizing a part-time clerk, account clerk, 1 in the finance department and a budget adjustment.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
E is discussion and direction regarding 938 Fresno Street, the new City Hall facility.
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, we had a special meeting tonight at 6 p.m. That meeting was located at 938 Fresno Street, which is the International Order of Odd Fellows building, which the city recently purchased. The intent of the meeting was to walk the council and any members of the public that wanted to attend through the building and share staff's ideas on what we believe the layout of the building should look like based upon our staffing needs and the current spaces up there. Now we'd like to just kind of have a conversation with you about that and ultimately get some direction. There are some follow-up items once we get council concurrence on how to go forward. So far, Garner, our Public Works Director, Lou and Mike have done an excellent job in identifying what needs to be done over there. And we talked a little bit about it. You know, there's still security systems that need to be brought into place, cabling for computers, the brain of the computer, all the servers need to be transferred over there. We need to get a final layout, furniture ordered. And there's a lot of different items, some painting that needs to be done over there, carpeting needs to be done over there. There's some walls that need to be built. So what we're trying to do now is once we get council's concurrence that they like the idea, we'll start scheduling that out. Right now, based upon what we've done internally, is we believe we can get everything done and then be ready to move in right around the end of March would be a good time. You know, it's always tricky when you move because, you know, is the end of the calendar year a good time? You know, but then that's Christmas season and the weather doesn't always comply and, you know, and we have furloughs going on. There's a lot of things going on at that time. March into March tends to be, again, it's an end of a quarter. It is going on for a weekend, during which time we anticipate that City Hall will have to close for 2 or 3 days right there, just so, you know, we can stop everything and get it moved, utilize the staff that we have. That'll give our administrative staff time to go and set up their new workspaces and get comfortable with the workspace and how it's going to go and help us do that. But in the meantime, just leading up to that, there's still a lot of logistics that have to take place. Again, scheduling everything out, trying to, again, figure out what the order is in terms of how we need to, one, get the setup in. Then do you bring the cabling guys in, the phone guys and the security guys, and you know, you still got carpeting you have to get put in and some painting that has to be put in. So there's logistical things that who goes first, so you don't do something and tear it up because the next guy had to do that. Also, we want to start working with our staff, our frontline staff, and that they start having conversations with them and seeing what their ideas are and some of the things that they think need to be done up front and ahead of time, so that way we can have those conversations. You know, as management, we can always say this needs to be done, but you really need to bring your frontline people in, and you know, they can probably help you debug a lot of issues and get things done. So with that, I just again want to open this up for a conversation and get your feedback on how you thought the tour went and what you thought about the setup and what we're talking about over there at this point in time. So with that, Mayor, I'll just open it up to any questions that the council has at this time for either myself or other members of staff.
Michael, I thought the tour was excellent, and I think it really gives the city the space they need. You know, we've talked about a pay station downstairs, and I know that a lot of people in the community have talked about it, that I've talked to, you know, and they, especially the older people, they don't feel comfortable with an elevator, they don't feel comfortable with the stairs. And I don't know what consideration's been given to that area, but it is something that I think we should think about.
And we have thought about it a lot. A couple different things. One, there's many options that we're developing or currently have for people to pay. One, you can mail your bill in and pay it that way. We have a Dropbox. You can do it on a Dropbox. You can walk up, and then we are now putting together a program where we're going to do online pay as well. And we can go directly to our website. Currently, you still have the option of doing, and we get probably about 250 or 300 what we call ghost checks, where you go through bill payer through your bank, and your bank then sends us a check to cover that bill, as opposed to just going necessarily to our website. So there really are going to be 5 different options for people to pay if we're going upstairs. Now, some of the pros and cons about having a downstairs pay center. one, accessibility to our more seniored citizens. You're correct. That does help out there. That's probably the number one pro about having a downstairs pay center. Some of the cons are, though, is one, it breaks up our staffing level. Right now, we currently have our administrative staff and our management staff together. And, you know, there's a good team camaraderie that goes along with that. What we're really talking about now is separating those now and really putting your management upstairs and your frontline people downstairs and not having an executive management person downstairs with them, because they would be upstairs, and if you look at some of the pay areas, it's not necessarily true. Now, there would be a frontline supervisor there, and that could help. But again, there would be a separation there between of the management team and the frontline employees. Now, one of the goals that we've always had as part of moving into this building is the fact that we are bringing more of a one-stop shop to people, you know, by bringing public works, administration, and management into the building now, trying to provide more access that way for people to have. Your costs for furnishings go up. You have to buy a new counter. You have to buy new staffing up there, so you have to have a downstairs setup as well as an upstairs setup. So there's a cost that goes along with that. You're going to lose rent. Even if you took the downstairs lowest one on the end over there, you're looking about $700 a month in rent that you would lose out on. So that's $8,500 a month in income, or $8,500 a year in income that you would lose out on. And then there's the money part of it too. Is, you know, do you have the safe downstairs? It's a little bit easier to access from a public safety perspective as opposed to having it upstairs. Do you have it upstairs, and, you know, are people transporting cash upstairs to a safe upstairs as opposed to downstairs? So there's a logistical perspective on that as well. So when we looked at all the things, we thought that having the entire staff upstairs was going to be the best long-term solution for us, with recognizing that it's a small but important part of our community, that, you know, maybe for whatever reason they don't like to get into elevators. I mean, our upstairs facility will be 100% ADA compliant. So we will be able to provide access to everybody, and that's your goal ultimately, is always to have full 100% compliance through ADA, and we will be providing that. So I understand that's a concern for the council. So those are some of the things that we thought about. Were there any? Do you guys think of any other ones that we talked about? So those are, I mean, we talked all as a staff, you know, public safety was there, public works, finance people, and when we look at the pros and cons to it all as staff, it's our recommendation that it's consistent with what we showed you tonight, where, you know, you have your payment center upstairs with everybody else. Again, going back to it, if you have your frontline finance people downstairs, are we going to hire receptionists and frontline people upstairs to start taking, you know, our calls in? We can't have our management staff, you know, tending the counter for when we get visitors, and those types of things. So, you know, right now it would still currently work the same way it works at City Hall, where they do a dual service for us.
I just think it's something we should think about, you know, because there is that concern out there, you know. And I understand, you know, as far as staffing and everything, and utilizing the space to the best ability and things like that, but.
Well, I think, you know, you have to look at the benefit cost analysis on it. And the reality is, you know, what segment of our population, you know, are we serving by having that downstairs payment center, and at what cost of having it down there, you know? A minimum, your cost is a minimum, you know, you're losing $8,500 in rent. Minimum, that's from the startup. So the minimum is costing you that. Then you have additional electric, you know, utility costs that go along with it. You're going to have additional staffing costs. You're going to have additional upfront capital costs by buying additional furnishings and office makeup that go downstairs. So it's a pretty significant cost. And what percentage of our population are we really trying to serve? Is it, the reality is that maybe 1% of our payers or really have that issue, and we are providing access. I mean, it's not like we're requiring them to climb the stairs. I mean, if that's all that we had, you're right. Staff would come back to you and say, you're right. We can't require our most senior people to climb those stairs, but we have an elevator, and it's tested on a regular basis, and it works perfectly fine. So, from staff's perspective, we again think that we are providing and accommodating everybody we can. And there are people with phobias. Maybe some people have a phobia against elevators, and they don't want to get up there. We will have a payment drop box out front. Again, there's going to be online pay. You can mail it in. We'll do everything we can to accommodate as many people as we can, but the reality is you'll never accommodate 100% of your customers here.
Okay, I'll chime in because I was probably the most vocal about that, and I know Bob agrees, and because that was a real concern of mine. But tonight, Councilmember Hutchins and I were just jabber-jocking about it, and he brought up a very valid point, something I didn't really give a whole lot of thought to, but it makes so much sense to me. And I got thinking, okay, we can have, and I just started doing the bill pay thing, so I pay my bill online, but I know we do have a drop box that can be utilized, which will make it easy, and there's other avenues. But after Don and I talked a little bit, the concern that he has, and I agree, is if we put an employee downstairs, basically by themselves, taking in money, security.
And we can't put someone down there by themselves.
Security is an issue, and
Big one.
And I'm not huge on doing the Michael Jackson shuffle backwards, but I think I have to on this one, and I agree with you. I think that's an important component. But the other side of that is there are avenues that we can deal with, and we may have to give that a try. But it's a very valid reason, that we'd have to put somebody down there by themselves, and dealing with money.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the only reason I had for asking the question is so that everyone has an opportunity to look at it and say what they think.
And since I made those comments at council meetings previously, I've had people tell me, Ed, you're right. We gotta have, and I said, yeah, I know I'm right. But the more I thought about it, and after Don made those comments tonight, I said, that makes so much sense to me, that we would have to put an employee down there by themselves, even though we'd have cameras and things, taking in money. I don't want to create a situation where there's going to be a snatch and rob, and whoever, whether it be a male or female down there, it doesn't make any difference. I don't want to put any of our employees in harm's way. So I think with the drop box, the mail in, online in, ship it by airplane in, whatever. I think we have to make that work, and as long as there is the pay box we have out here in front of City Hall now, people can, and I utilize that sometimes. But so with that, I think the avenues that we're putting forward, hopefully everybody will be able to pick one that suits them. Because I can also argue that there's people who aren't computer friendly, that don't know how to email or use their bank or bill pay or online, or believe it or not, there's people out there that don't touch computers. So
just look at ATMs. People won't go in there. Go
Yeah.
to the bank. I said,
Yeah.
my goodness gracious, what are they doing?
Yeah. So given the fact that there's going to be cameras out there, our drop box will be in a place where it will be viewed by the camera as well. I think I'm a little bit more at ease with that than I was initially.
Is it going to be possible to make your payment on a credit card by phone?
It's not going to be on phone because there's no way to verify who the person is, and there's a potential for fraud to transpire. But there will be a way to do it online using your credit card.
But if the credit card name on the credit card matches the name on the bill, how can that be fraud?
We have no way to to verify that the name on the card, because we're not seeing the card. You're telling me numbers and you're saying the name's the same, but I could tell you right now, we could take out a card and we could read you the numbers and it may be activated and it may go through and you may tell me it's Councilmember Hutchins, but in reality the name says Mike Meyer on it. Unless you have the card there, it doesn't work for us. There's the potential for fraud in our receivers or vendor doesn't allow us to do it that way. That's why we'll do it online with credit cards for those people that want to do it that way. Through our website, it'll be 100% secure.
Okay, but there's something missing here. How can you walk into a store with a credit card? You don't know who I am. You don't see the name of the credit card. That doesn't mean it's me.
They're
But you
supposed
take
to
it,
check
it goes
ID.
through.
Yeah, but they're supposed to check your ID as well.
I just had a friend of
Nobody
mine
does.
that had his credit card stolen. He was in Monterey, and before he made it back to Newman, the thieves had not only charged in Monterey and Marina, but they made it to Modesto, charged several times, and it wasn't until they went to the Apple store to buy 12 laptops or iPads that the Apple thought, gee, something's not right here. And they called, the security called bank, and then bank called my friend, and he says, no, I didn't buy 12 iPads. I just bought 2 last month. So it's incumbent upon the people taking those credit cards to verify who the person is. And he's recovered all of his money and everything because, of the fraud there. So it's incumbent upon the retailer, to verify. And he made a good point to me today. Most people sign the back of their credit cards. It's not a smart thing to do. But now what I've done on mine, and he's done his, right on there, ask for ID, see ID first. And it makes so much sense. I mean, we all just sign them, and then, so they were using his credit card, and they bought hats, they bought gas, they bought purses. It wasn't until they tried to buy 12 iPads did the lights go off. So, anyway, so the potential fraud is there, it's everywhere. So I think our staff has, they try to do the best they can to verify who people are, when they're getting people are paying their bills and.
I think somebody should be downstairs in the corner alone in an office taking money. It's asking for fraud. Asking for somebody to take it away from you.
Yeah.
But the credit card still doesn't compute to me.
Yeah. Well, I think staff's doing everything they can to make that process as easy as they can. And there's going to be a few kinks in the system, but eventually, people can mail their checks in to City Hall as well.
Oh, or drop it.
Yeah, or drop it in a drop box.
As long as they can do that, that's not a real problem.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
upstairs.
and I think we make that available to them. So, again, I think they'll be working out some of the kinks, and I say I'll backtrack and let's just see what happens and see with the 5 options that people have. Hopefully it should be easy.
The reason I bring this problem up, this is the only bill that I cannot pay on the telephone with a credit card. And it annoys me. Has for 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah. Well, you can wait till they send you the one that says final notice. Good. Throw it away.
Then the guy come out and hide money at my door.
Any other questions or comments?
Or just, maybe we could revisit this after the city hall opens up and
Sure.
we get a tremendous amount of complaints from the general public and requests.
And that would really dictate the direction. I mean,
Yeah.
people start knocking on your door or our doors,
Yeah.
and then we as a council can come back and ask staff, we have to address it.
Yeah, I think that might be a good way. Because I'd like to see if the general public's not happy with it, and I know that at the get-go, you'd like to go the way it is now, so,
And you're right. The reality is, in the first 6 months, you're going to know
yeah.
how successful it's been.
Yeah,
I
and
mean, if you're not getting an overpouring of complaints in the first 6 months, the reality is you're probably not going to.
Yeah.
So in the first 3 to 6 months, we'll know how successful it's
We
been.
may have to create a pay center in the police department.
Do that.
Well, you know,
Yeah. Used to be in there anyway, so.
anyway.
You already have the software for it.
And it's not being, totally off mark. I mean, push comes to shove, I guess maybe we could make that a drop-off point.
It wouldn't be any different than,
The hours are different, yeah.
the hours are slightly different, but it'd be no different than
Yeah.
drugstore taking utility
Exactly.
payments
That's
as
right.
far as.
Exactly.
So that might be something, if we have a lot of negative feedback
Yeah.
on it, just make a pay station at the PD. I know the
Yeah.
chief would be able to work that out.
Yeah.
He's not even listening.
Yeah, so that might be an option that we visit.
Yeah, that's true. It's an option.
I think it's a small percentage of the population anyway.
It is, but it's,
It's not that it's not an important
That's right.
segment, but I'm
That's right.
saying it's a, we have to look at the loss of potential revenue and the security issues and everything else, so.
I think other than that, I think it was awfully nice of the city manager to provide us all with offices down there. That's great.
Yeah,
And forfeit his office? Oh, yeah.
His is the one with the blue sign on it.
Yeah, yours is right
They
next
actually
to
has hers on
it.
them?
Yeah, the blue sign.
No, we did not get offices for the viewing public. Any other questions or comments?
I think I look at that, not only the potential for City Hall, but the potential for the tenants down there and the way that it's set up now. I think it's going to be a great boon to the city. I think and I think even with that small percentage that, yes, we need to serve them somehow, but I think overall, just by putting Public Works, everybody in one spot, the only thing that I would say is that Stephanie wants a closet, so you're going to have to change things around.
We can switch your office and Michael's.
That's easy.
We're okay with that.
I just said I'm going to show.
Mayor, I was thinking, what we could do is, put a phone down in the lobby. They pick up, hey, can you come pick up my payment? I know that phone's going to go now. It's going to go to Stephanie's office.
Well, she's closer to the stairs.
Yeah.
That's right.
I need to exercise.
I think it's gonna suit the city well for many years to come, and it's a great facility, and I think we got a bargain on it, and hopefully people 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now will say, geez, those guys really had on the ball. They made the right decision. So, and if not, we'll blame Michael. So, any other comments? So I think the direction I'm hearing is let's proceed as you presented it
That's right.
this evening, and
Go with your timeline.
So what we're going to do now, as staff, we'll start developing schedules. We'll start, we've already started prioritizing what improvements we think need to go up front, and then get it and start scheduling them all out. We'll start putting together bid packages and the like, and then we'll just continue to keep you updated as we go forward. So.
great.
Make it snappy.
We need new council chambers, right?
That's right.
That's
think
on the
that's
bottom
first
of the
priority.
agenda.
I think so too, because we're really busting out the seams here. So.
Let's just get the city moved first.
Take number
This is not a bad chamber.
No, it's not.
It's a good chamber.
Okay. Then you got your marching orders, so we'll go to item 11. Items from District 5, Stanislaus County Supervisor Jim D. Martini.
Good evening, Mayor Caton, council members. I enjoyed the tour of your new City Hall buildings. That's a big improvement for Newman. I think they have great potential. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about the task force. I don't have a lot of other news. We just passed our budget today, and we're just in the tank again this year, so I'll talk about something that's more cheerful. The next task force meeting will be on September 29th. I intend to send out the packets on Friday. They're just about done. They will be in Gustine at 6 o'clock. And there we will be talking about our way out in Gustine, which will be October 15th. We're halfway through the weight loss contest on, I think Thursday or Friday will be the halfway point. So we're setting that up at Gustine probably around 10 or 11 on the way out. At the meeting, we're going to be discussing our calendar and essay contests that we have at the schools each year. in trying to come up with the theme for it. Last year was diet, and I think the year before was exercise, so we will try and decide on that, and then talk about possible new programs, partnering with the UC Cooperative Extension. And then we have a letter of introduction that we're going to submit to grant organizations to try and get some grant funding to fund our operations. We don't need a lot of money, but we need a little bit, and we have some ideas of some funding possibilities that we could get. We certainly appreciate the municipalities contributing to us there, but I can see the pretty hard times that we have, and there's really no end in sight that we can see in the county that this is going to turn around anytime soon. So we're trying to go out in other places to get small amounts of funding to run our programs, our exercise, and our school programs, and calendar, and all the things that we do, the weight loss contest and the health summit and all these different programs that we have. So anyway, I hope to see you there on 29th in Dustine.
Yeah. Maybe there.
That's all I have. I have no other news. So
Other news?
I wish we've been tied up with the budget on the county. We just passed it today, which was very difficult to do. I haven't heard a thing about the flood control project in a long time.
Yeah, neither have I.
It's it was moving along so well for a while, and we thought we would start. We would get the chief's report, and we made trips to Washington, and and I just Corps of Engineers I don't think has ever finished their work.
Garner, have you had any input? Have you?
I haven't had input, but we have a meeting on Thursday with their staff and our staff to get an update.
Might be time to try to light a fire under their rears again, and
I know Matt's been attending some of the meetings up in Sacramento, but they're coming down here on Thursday morning to give our staff an update on
what time Thursday?
It's at 10:30, and it's gonna be here in council chambers.
Okay.
I hadn't even heard that.
I'll forward you the meeting.
If you would, and maybe forward it to Jim as well.
Sure.
Yeah, if there's anything that ever goes on, be sure I'm aware of it, because I didn't know it. I hadn't heard anything in so long that I just didn't know.
Well, I
mean, it's been going on for 14 years, so it's not really
I quit calling our
surprising.
congressman because I know his can't do anything for us. Feds don't have any money either, so.
This has just turned into a jobs program for the Corps of Engineers.
Yeah.
And so I
It has
don't know.
14 years. Well, they're
But I'd like to
fixing
see some progress, but I have no
Yeah.
news for you today.
They're about to get $425 billion, right? So they should be able to
Yeah.
build that.
Okay, that's all I have tonight.
Thank you, Jim.
Taking our money.
Appreciate it.
Suckers.
Items from the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to give you an update. I just got an email from Greg Nyoff, city manager from
Good.
Modesto. Mayor Jim right now is doing much better the last 24 hours. He's improved a lot. For those of you who don't know, Jim was admitted to the hospital this past weekend. Had a pretty severe infection. They've been really pumping him full of antibiotics, and he was going up and down for a while. But he's recovering now. He's still critical but stable condition. There were rumors about a coma. He never was or has been in a coma. He's always been conscious. His family wants to thank everybody for their prayers, and also thank them for respecting their privacy during this whole time. And so they're going to continue to give updates on that. But Jim's doing much better. But he's not out of the woods yet. But still could use our prayers. So if you get an opportunity, it's always good to say one for Jim. But it's looking better. For the last 24 hours, he's improved. So with that, moving on to my other talking items. Next Tuesday, we had a 2-on-2 schedule with the school district. Unfortunately, one of their board members couldn't make it, so they're asking if we could reschedule that maybe for the 27th. We do have a council meeting that night, but if we could do it from 4 to 5.
That'll work.
It works for me.
Okay, so we'll do it on the Tuesday the 27th from 4 to 5 is approximately, and then we'll come into our council after that. Thank you very much. I'll get back to superintendent on that one. And then you probably will get something in your mail if you haven't already, but they'll be doing a meet and greet for Superintendent Felt next week. So
It came in the mail today.
Yeah, so if you'd like us to RSVP for you, just, let Mike know, and we'll do a mass one for the whole council. So just talk to Mike after the meeting today and let him know who plans on attending. If you don't know tonight, you can always call back later and let Mike know at a later date.
Don and I both will be in San Francisco.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's on the 21st.
First, yeah.
We have some upcoming staff changes in our finance department. Unfortunately, Miss Becky Gomez is relocating back to San Jose due to some family issues. Her child is going to be going to San Jose State, and her husband lives over there, so they're going to be relocating back at the end of this month. However, that's the 127 applications that we got. I'm proud to announce that Alicia Torres, our account clerk at the front desk, came out number 1 in that panel, and she'll be promoted to the account clerk 2 position. At which time we will hire a new employee, and that employee is named Sarah Mendonca. She's actually a Gustine resident, and so she turned out to be number 1 for the second hiring on that particular spot. I think we're going to have a long-term employee here. She's just a real neat gal, and I think everybody agreed that she was the right fit for that position, and so she'll do a good job. I don't think you'll notice any changes in terms of staffing, and Alicia does a good job at the front counter, but we think Sarah will as well. So all that really, Sarah was going to start on September 19th. She'll get a little bit of training in, and then Alicia's officially moves over on October 1st. So a gentleman by the name of Robert Silva, for those that have been around for a while, probably know him and or his family. He's been hired as a part-time public works employee. That's in the budget. So we did some interviews on that, and he'll be working part-time for us in the public works department and working for Garner on there. Looks like his work week will begin tomorrow, Wednesday the 14th. So he's already gone through the background and the screenings and the physicals, and so he's passed that as well. Youth soccer is underway. We had a successful opening season last weekend, and so any of you who like soccer can go out to Sherman Park any Saturday morning, basically from 8:30 to about 1:30 is about the time the games are over, and catch a soccer game free of charge. Tomorrow, the mayor and I will be going to a countywide ag preservation strategy and mapping hoo-ha, I guess.
What the hell is that?
The mayors have been working on. I think, Mayor, maybe you can elaborate on that. But we'll be doing that tomorrow.
It's for quite some time, and it actually started with former Supervisor Grover kind of leading the charge. Now Supervisor O'Brien has kind of taken on the charge. The mayors for quite some time, even prior to my term, have been talking about growth management strategy and throughout the county and the direction that we'd like to see the growth management go, and there's been a lot of talk, a lot of discussion. There's been maps that have been presented, and so this is just another series of ongoing meetings and discussing, where we as a city would like to see the growth go and what the impacts would be on our community, and each of the other 8 cities are doing the same thing, in terms of maps and growth strategies and that kind of type of thing. So that's kind of that in a nutshell. There's been a lot of discussion, and there will come a time where we'll bring something back to the council to kind of formalize it in the direction that this city would like to go in terms of growth management. And we're, as a city, we're kind of tied, as far south we can go, and we've already decided, we're not going to go any further north than Stir Road, and can't really go too much further to the east because of the river, etc. And I've kind of decided we're probably going to go too much further to the west, but those are just talks that are being had, and so this is just another series meeting where city managers, they've talked, and so now we're just kind of collaboratively trying to hold some discussion, and so we're all on the same wavelength direction that cities are going to go.
Did you tell them we have a general plan?
We're the only city in Stanislaus County has completed a general plan. We're
Well,
the
we
only
got a
city.
good general.
Yes, we do.
We got a great.
So I praise that at all means. I said, when you guys are still working on yours, ours is done. Ours is done. So, and it's funny because they're all talking about, well, we're going to start ours. They're in the early stages. A lot of cities are or have been in the stages for quite some time. So
Ours was so professional, well
Yeah.
done. I mean,
Yeah. So, as the mayor indicated, this is something that I anticipate in the next 30 to 45 days, you'll probably see something in front of you, a map and some language, and see if you concur with what the mayors have worked out, with some input from the city managers as well as the planning directors. So we'll get something back to you. Ultimately, it sounds like this may be something they're looking at putting on the ballot. And what it is really each city goes in and has defined what they consider a urban growth boundary and say, okay, this is your growth period, growth limits for the next 50 years. And then you're limited to that area. So, when looking at ours, as your city manager and community development director, and based on the lines that we put out there, I'm pretty comfortable that we got 50 years of area, and it's all based on our general plan. It's 100% based on our general plan, and so I think we're fine. But again, it's something we'll bring back to you. Again, I anticipate the next 30 to 45 days, and it may need to run its course. Come to you, you send it to the planning commission, then planning commission comes back to you. We'll get that all worked out in detail. So, and then lastly, our auditors came and went last week. I think they spent maybe 2 days here, so couldn't find anything on us, but Lou's getting pretty good at hiding that stuff. So.
that's why you hired him, right?
Yeah, that's right. He did come from Patterson. I guess the drawer's not that good at hiding it.
you're not going to find $3 or $4, $5, $6 million laying around in a drawer somewhere.
Oh, sorry, Patterson.
Poor Lou, just sitting there minding his own business.
No, we throw him out the chief and Garner all the time. He just sits there quietly. So, with that's all I had, unless the council had any questions or comments for me.
Any questions of Michael? Okay. Staff, you may want to jump up. Stephanie.
Evening again. Just wanted to give you an update on what planning's been doing. This week we started work on an Assistance to Firefighters grant. We've written twice in the past already. It's very competitive, but we always try to put our hat in there, so we will see if we can get some gear for our volunteer fire department. We have a CDBG public information meeting on September 23rd. That is a Friday at 5 p.m. to discuss the Tulare Street project, which is the 1400 block of Tulare Street. Very similar to the PQRC project, curb gutter sidewalk, just to kind of give the public and adjacent property owners a heads up that this is coming down the pipeline, and so that there's any questions can be answered. We should be proceeding with our Eecbg grant retrofit soon. I found out that the San Joaquin Valley Clean Energy Organization has already pre-bid the project out through a certain contractor who meets all ERA requirements and Department of Energy requirements, and that saves a lot of time and steps. So I've already communicated with them, and we're getting that ball rolling so we can get that work done. And once we have a contractor on board, it's a very quick job. So we're looking forward to that. Recently, the department submitted a Plaza Blueprint Award, so we're hoping that we get awarded for our beautiful plaza, so we'll see about that. We also submitted for a Downtown Revitalization Implementation National APA Award, and that is the American Planning Association. So that's a biggie. If we get that, that'd be really nice. So just wanted to let you know.
Great.
Happy to answer any
Questions,
questions.
Stephanie?
Does our fire department need gear?
They do. I know that every so often their turnouts become non-compliant, so they have to, anytime there's a hole or a tear, they're supposed to replace those. It could also be their SCBA, their air tanks need to be replaced once in a while. I think they were able to get a FLIR camera a year or two ago, so they don't need that anymore, but there's always gear that's needed. And also the grant can cover training, and I know training's a big issue because they have to have so much of it. This can help offset the costs of that, so it would help the department.
Great. Any other questions? Thanks, Stephanie. Chief?
Good evening again. Just throw it out there that October 8th at Pioneer Park we'll be doing our low-cost animal clinic again. So you can come get rabies vaccinations, microchips, dog license, voucher for spays and neuters for your animal. So it runs between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. Get there early. There's always a big line, or wait till the end when everybody's already came and gone. So hopefully we'll see you out there. And if you do go to the soccer game, stop by the snack bar, buy a hot dog from our Explorer booth. They're fundraising for their Explorer challenges and the academy. That's all I have. I'll answer any questions.
Any question of the chief? Thanks. Short and sweet. Yeah, always. Connor?
Mine's not short and sweet. I like short. I'm short,
Short?
but I'm not sweet.
Wow.
That was from the chief. Okay, so we had a few complaints about some sidewalks, and I've been out walking the town, in the older part of town, looking at sidewalks. One of the council members brought a repair to our attention, so we put a project together. We had budgeted $6,000 in materials for concrete repairs. We're going to do it in 2 phases. We're going to spend $3,000 coming up real quick. We have a list of sidewalk repairs. One of them is the one on Merced Street. We're going to take care of that. We have some on P and some other parts of town. We're going to go ahead and jumpstart that ahead of the PQR project, that those areas aren't going to be fixed. So our crews will be out probably the next week or so doing some of those repairs, the ones that are more important, that are the bigger tripping hazards. If you haven't already noticed, crews have been out and about painting the traffic markings through town, trying to get a heads up on that before the winter gets here and make those more clear. We painted the traffic stalls, parking stalls, the stop bars, and we're going to be doing crosswalks and things of that nature. Painted the fire department's parking lot as well. We're also working on the street signs. We got some more faded street signs. Every year we're going through and we're replacing some of those. And we have Cal Traffic on notice that it's the higher quality vinyl that they use on the traffic signs, so they last a lot longer. So we'll be doing some of those. Tonight you awarded the Main Street intersections projects. That'll be kickstarting hopefully about, I would say, October timeframe, by the time we get all the contracts signed, the insurance and the bonds in place, and get the notice to proceed out to the contractors. That project will be starting, and I'll be walking myself and talking to the business owners downtown, letting them know when that's going to be happening, and hopefully cut off any complaints that we may have. We will have some complaints, just the nature of the project, but I'll try and minimize those as best we can. M Street sewer line, we have a M Street sewer line project that's soon going out to bid. That's to replace the sewer line over by the Corporation Yard between L and M Street. That one's in need of repair, so that project should be out to bid sometime in October. Earlier, Stephanie mentioned Tulare Street improvements and PQR. That project's still in design phase. We're finishing up the Tulare Street improvements design and the environmental on that. We're anticipating December, January, I think, for bid on that. Okay. So probably November, December timeframe, we'll be bidding that project. Oristemba. So Supervisor DeMartini mentioned Oristemba. So I did receive a call and an email on Monday from the Corps of Engineers wanting to give a staff an update on that. I'll forward the meeting notice to the supervisor and to council for those that want to attend. It's just an update from what I understand on what's been happening. Matt Machado is not able to attend. I think he has another meeting that he's attending. And also tonight, I handed out some electrical vehicles. Tonight, the council authorized Director of Public Works and City Manager to put in for a grant application. It's a first come, first served grant application to the San Joaquin Unified Air Pollution Control District. And these are some vehicles that we're kind of looking at. I've kind of jump-started a little bit and did some research this week on potential vehicles. The vehicles, there's one that's a 4-passenger vehicle. That's a gem. We're looking at utilizing ones for City Hall for doing errands around. All these vehicles are just around town only. That's a nice little vehicle. It can be used for staff at City Hall to run errands and things through town. The other vehicle that's similar in nature to that is a utility vehicle. It's a 2-passenger with a bed on it. That's one that we're looking at one for the police department and two of them for Public Works Department to utilize as a utility vehicle throughout town for small projects and things we're doing to help minimize our reliance on gas. And the other 2 vehicles, we're not sure between the Gator and the Polaris vehicle there. We're looking at those for park maintenance and wastewater needs a vehicle. The good thing about this is it's 100% grant funded, up to $100,000 max. We're trying to figure out the best way to spend that money if we're to get it, first come, first served basis. The intent is that since council's passed the resolution tonight, as soon as we get the resolution signed, the application's ready to be submitted to the Air Board. so we can hopefully get that jump-started as soon as possible. This has been through the help of the California Consulting, who we have a contract with for helping us find these types of grants. So we're pretty excited about it. It'll help lower our overall fuel costs, help improve air quality. Right now, we're already utilizing natural gas vehicles. We have 3 trucks, 3 pool cars, a boom truck, and a flatbed truck that's all natural gas. So we're really, I think, ahead of it when it comes to our fleet on improving air quality and things of that nature. And this will be another one if we were to get this. You'll even see myself tooling around in one of these things. So, and the police chief has volunteered to tool around in the other one. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions of Garner?
Did you, I believe you said you got a chance to check on Patchett, right, those complaints from?
That road is in need of repair. It has to be completely reconstructed, though. It can't do an overlay on it. It's deteriorated far enough that even a seal coat or an overlay, it would just deteriorate within a year or two anyway. So that one would have to be completely dug out and reconstructed. Unfortunately, we don't have any funding available at this moment for that. That's a residential street, and there's no grant funding available. So we're not going to be able to do anything this year on that project unless we were to use general fund expenditures.
Gardner, when will you know if you've been awarded the grant? Is it something you'll know in a short period?
It's first come, first served basis, so we're probably 30 to 60 days we should know from the air board. Then we have to enter a contract. We would front the money, then they pay us back as soon as we get invoices from us. And they're committed to turn around quickly as possible.
Maybe we should let the airport guy talk longer, huh?
Maybe.
I think he went over his allotted time anyway.
I think he did. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none?
Okay.
Well, thanks, Garner. We'll go to council members. Nick?
No, nothing tonight.
Bob?
Yeah, we just finished the Fall Festival, and there's a lot of people to thank, the Fall Festival Committee and the city and their staff and all they've done, and of course, especially our police force. They make us feel secure, and your troops did a great job. I mean, I know that Sunday night probably was the busiest night, but they seemed to handle everything, and thanks to the newspaper, we had some great pictures, and it was really I think the people that put this together in such a short period of time have to be commended, because it was not an easy thing. But anyway, I think the city looked good, and I think everybody had a great time. And that's the only comment I have.
Great. Don?
Nothing tonight.
Roberta?
I don't have anything tonight.
Okay, just a couple things. Young ladies, you from the high school? Well, welcome to our council meeting. I know you're over there diligently taking a lot of notes. So, is it for a class?
Yeah, it was government.
Government class.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I hope we were able to help tonight. Welcome. Come back anytime.
It doesn't work this way in Sacramento.
That it does not. Mike, if you would, I'm hopefully everybody will be able to go to the meet and greet, meet the new superintendent. I wish I could, but if you let the district know that Don and I both won't be able to make it, we're going to be out of town at the conference. So, if that's all right, Don, have staff do that. Now, I'm going to try to make a point to stop in and visit with him and before then. The other thing is the new dedication of the new Heard Barrington Elementary School is on October 1. I think everybody also got a notice on that. So it's pretty exciting. For maybe those who don't know whether Nick or not, Heard Barrington is a longtime Newman resident and former mayor of Newman as well. So he's had several schools, and a school named after him, and Barrington Park named after him, and a street named after him. And so Heard was the police commissioner when I first came in, before we had a city manager form of government. And we had a city administrator in those days, and so each member of the council had a responsibility, and Heard was the police commissioner. So, and then there was somebody who was oversaw public works, somebody oversaw city hall, somebody oversaw this, oversaw that, and so I became good friends with Heard over the years, and so he was a great man and very, very interesting guy to talk to. So I'll be at that dedication ceremony on the 1st, so hopefully everybody will be able to show up and go to that. Should be nice. It's a great facility. It's a great school. So with that, I'll just echo what Bob said. The Fall Festival was great. It was almost like it was the old days again, Sunday night, till Chief came to the rescue. I was watching fights unfold, and it was right in the middle of it, and I jumped in. I was trying to separate them, and some guy's pulling, Ed, you're not copying work. Get out of there.
Randy.
But anyway, everything went pretty well. I think the committee did a great job, and it was a great fall festival. And congratulations to the new Miss Newman, Adriana Lopez. I think she's going to be a great Miss Newman, and I can't recall the little kids' names, but the first runner-up, second runner-up, both girls are great, and they spent all day Sunday walking around the park and in their robes and their crowns, and so it was great. It was a great weekend, so a lot of fun. With that, we will adjourn for the evening. Thank you for coming. Good night.